The Packers stun the Chiefs, shock the NFL. A massive upset victory. The Green Bay Packers defeating the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football to cap off Week 13 in the National Football League. This is a victory that has planted, I can't believe I'm saying these words, has planted the Green Bay Packers into the current 2023-24 playoff picture at the number 7 seed. It was Liv Morgan, WWE Superstar versus Taylor Swift at Lambeau Field. Some coffee, and we're going to talk about it. Packers Chiefs, Week 13 in the National Football League. Oh, what a game! And where do we begin with this Green Bay Packer football team? Let's set the stage. It's the Packers from Green Bay versus the Super Bowl champion Chiefs from Kansas City. Sunday Night Football. The world is watching. And nobody is giving the Packers a chance. And rightfully so. We've been one of the worst teams in the league this year. BC can attest to that. I've been reviewing this team all season. I've been covering this team for decades. This team has all the potential in the world, but this season they have not been able to put it all together. It doesn't even look like they're progressing most weeks. It's the same mistakes, the same botches, and the same types of losses. And that's how you become 2-6. But something started to happen within the last month. 2-6 became 3-6, then 4-6, 5-6 on Thanksgiving Day against the Lions. And you started to think maybe, just a little bit, just a little possibility. Could we beat the Super Bowl champions on the grandest stage of them all, Sunday Night Football, with the world watching? Of course, it's a pipe dream to many. But if you follow this team, you start to see a little progression finally. You start to see that untapped potential get tapped. And you start to think it's a possibility. With a little bit of luck over here, a couple 2-3 miracles over here, and some really good football play throughout the entire 4 quarters, it's possible the Packers could pull out a victory. Still a pipe dream to many, I understand, but you're telling me there's a chance. And when I say in front of the entire world, you had a lot of mainstream eyeballs on this game. You had WWE Superstar Liv Morgan in the house. Lambeau Field, Liv Morgan rocking the Green Bay green and yellow. She had the coach. She had the Packers championship. She was presenting it to players. She was meeting and greeting Packer fans throughout Lambeau. She was having the time of her life. Liv Morgan was rocking Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You had Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles in Lambeau Field, rocking the green and yellow. Of course, her husband, number 34, Jonathan Owens for the Packers. He actually got the start last night, so this was big for him and his wife, Simone Biles. Again, rocking that green and yellow. You had rap icon Lil Wayne in Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin, rocking the green and yellow. And you even had music sensation Taylor Swift in Lambeau Field, rocking the green. Actually, whoa. Rewind. You're wearing the wrong colors, Taylor. Taylor Swift is rocking the Chiefs red in Lambeau Field. It's gotta come down to this now. It's gotta be Hell in a Cell. Maybe some War Games. Liv Morgan from the WWE versus Taylor Swift. Morgan representing the Green Bay Packers. Taylor Swift representing the Chiefs. Put them inside the cage. Only one can come out. Hey, in all seriousness, jokes aside, a lot of people were having fun with the Simone Biles thing, saying they came to see Simone Biles. And then wrestling fans jumped in. We came to see Liv Morgan, not Taylor Swift. So it became a running joke throughout the night. But in the end, it was the Packers that took this W. All kidding aside, a lot of stars were at the game, a lot of eyeballs. This is definitely going to be one of those highly rated games. And this is one of those games where it's absolute, we throw around the word shocking and stunning, but if you are a Packers fan especially, but even just a football fan, you know that this game, wow, was it stunning. Damn, was it shocking. Like, to the definition. So let's start with this. Let me get a swig of coffee. And real quickly, I'll just take you through the flow of the game. How did this little team that was already casted aside, nobody gave a chance to, how did this team take out the Super Bowl champions and catapult themselves into the playoff picture when just a month ago, we were already talking about 2024? So when we talk flow of the game, the first half of this game flew by. If you blinked, you probably missed the first half. Each team had only 3 possessions apiece. The entire first half, guys. And it was really only 4. Because the last possession for the Packers and Chiefs both came within about 2 minutes left in the half. So they were just trying to play against the clock, kind of rushing things, nothing developed. So it was really only 2 possessions apiece. And all 4 were methodical in approach, meaning it took a long time driving down the field. Nobody was hitting 40, 50-yard bangers down the field. Nobody was bashing 20, 25-yard runs. This was methodical, but it was effective. The difference was the Packers from Green Bay scored 2 touchdowns back-to-back drives. The Chiefs scored 2 field goals back-to-back drives. So when the first half was said and done, 14-6, Green Bay will take the 8-point lead going into the half against the Super Bowl champions for sure. Second half, the Chiefs start off with the ball, and every single play to begin the second half, every play the Chiefs were producing was a pop quiz, and the Packers had no answers. So sure enough, they stormed down the field, instant touchdown. So with that touchdown, the Chiefs just cut that to 14-12. It was 14-6, a quick 6 points on the TD, 14-12. So now they're still down by 2, so they decide to go for the 2-point conversion. I believe it was their first 2-point conversion of the season. If I'm mistaken, it's not by much. They don't really go for those 2 points that often, and it showed. They actually lost a couple yards. Denied. The Packers said, rejected. Das Boot. Get out of here. You already got in the end zone once. You ain't coming back. So they denied that 2 points. That was huge. I say this all the time. I say it every week reviewing the Packers. When Carlson, our field goal kicker, misses an extra point, that's not so little. Those points, man, they add up. And we've already had a couple of losses this year that were 1 point. I think we even won a game by 1 point. So 1 point means everything in the NFL. So to stop that 2-point, man, that was a massive defensive stop. 14-12, it stands. Now the Packers' next possession, there were 2 plays that will literally live in the annals of Green Bay's team highlight reel for all of time. 2 plays from Jordan Love. And I'm just thinking back on them. And not just Jordan Love's highlight reel. I mean, the Packers. It'll be up there with the Favre plays and the Rodgers plays. No joke. There was one, 4th and 2. It was around the 50-yard line. 4th and 2, the Packers are going to go for it. We have to. It's the Chiefs. You give it back to them, Mahomes is just going to storm down the field and score some type of points. So it's 4th and 2. We're across our side of the field. We're into their side. Let's just go for it. 4th and 2. Love heaves the ball 275 feet in the air. Slight exaggeration, but only slight. 200. He just heaves this thing. Something that Aaron Rodgers would do. Just heaves it. 275 feet up in the air. And 33 yards later, it winds up in Romeo Dobbs' hands somehow. Even Dobbs seemed shocked when he turned around, saw the ball, where it was coming, and he was surrounded by about 4 Chiefs, by the way, 4 or 5. It was nothing but white jerseys. There was only one green jersey in the middle of them. And somehow, the ball found its way into his hands. It was a thing of beauty. You had to see it 86 times just to believe it. When I'm done reviewing this, I probably got to see it another 86 times. It was wild. And then just a couple plays later, Love hits Watson in the back of the end zone. And I mean, Love threads it to a spot only Watson could leap to. Watson had to jump the same 275 feet that Love heaved it up for Romeo Doubs a couple plays earlier. Watson had to jump up the same 275 feet. So a part of me wants to say that it was just an overthrown ball because Love has done that all season. Overthrown, underthrown. It's pretty much been his MO. He has yet to find the exact trajectory to get it to these receivers. So you could say it was an overthrown ball and we got lucky. But in this instance, in this case, it was exactly where it needed to be. Otherwise, it could have been intercepted. And only Watson could leap that high to retrieve this ball. But he got it. Both feet land inside the marker. Both feet in the end zone. Ball in hand. Touchdown! What a reception. These two plays, again, will live on in the annals of time for the Green Bay Packers. It will live on in their highlight reel team package forever. Right up there with the Rodgers plays and the Favre plays. These two plays were that good. You have to see them to believe them. And this was some of the best quarterbacking you'll ever see. This season especially. But if you saw this drive, whether you say it's a lot of luck, a little bit of miracle, you better also give some credit where it's due and say that was some damn good quarterbacking. And this is what we wanted to see from Jordan Love. Is it in him? You know, truthfully, guys, Packer fans will tell you, we don't know. We see the potential is there. But we've seen a lot of football players. You see it in any sport. Or in any profession, there's potential, but they just don't know how to bring it out of themselves. And unfortunately, we see a lot of people fail when they had all the talent in the world. You didn't know and you didn't want Jordan Love to be that person. Maybe last night was the wake-up call to himself. Wait a second, I'm damn good at this quarterbacking thing. Because he outdueled Mahomes. Mahomes and Love, if you look at their stats, guys, and I'll give it to you real quick before I continue on with this review on this game. Love was 25 for 36. Mahomes was 21 for 33. Love with 261 total yards. Mahomes 210. Over half a football field advantage to Love. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for Love. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mahomes, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They offset. 7.3 yards per attempt for Love, 6.4 for Mahomes. So you're taking on the Super Bowl champion superstar, Mahomes, and you're beating him in your rookie year. And I know he's spent some years under Aaron Rodgers, so people like to put an asterisk on rookie year, but this is his first full year as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And you just took out the Super Bowl champion, Patrick Mahomes. That's massive. Anyway, this drive will always be remembered by Packers fans. It was that special. It kept us in the game, and it gave us a real chance to actually win this game. And at this point, guys, it's 21-12 in favor of the Packers. That's huge because that's 9 points. And you guys know 9 points means it's a 2-possession game. Even if they score a touchdown in a 2-point conversion, you still got to get at least another field goal. So it's looking good. You cannot take your foot off the gas pedal, though, because the second you do, even if you're not even touching the brake, you're still going to stop that vehicle in its tracks. You're going to stop instantly because the second you take even a little bit of your foot off the gas, Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to make you pay for it. In fact, that's exactly what happened. The Chiefs came right back the very next possession, trailblazed, methodically I might add, right down the field and scored a countering touchdown. So it just offset the Watson touchdown from minutes earlier. They couldn't even give the Packers a moment to relax and take a breath and enjoy a 2-possession game. No, they came right back, made this 21-19, back to a 2-point game. And once again, Packers fans were not feeling too great about the situation, even with a lead. Again, it's only 2 points, 21-19 at this point. There was a delay of game in the fourth quarter for the Packers. It was with 12 minutes left in the game, fourth quarter. And it was one of those things where you just can't do that, right? Aaron Rodgers used to let the clock go to 1, and then he would call a timeout. That's bad because we need those timeouts. And Rodgers did that throughout his entire career with the Packers. And every single time, it would bite us in the ass. We needed those timeouts. Later in the game, we could have really used those timeouts. But no, Rodgers is just RELAXing to the line. He's just taking his time. He's Cool Hand Luke, right? He's all chill. Meanwhile, the clock is hitting 0, so you got to use a timeout. With Love, he doesn't use the timeout. That's the good news. The bad news is he still lets it go to 0 when we get delay of games. A couple of them last night alone. So it's like pick your own poison on that, right? Would you rather use the timeout, save the 5 yards? You're going to need those timeouts. But on the flip side, if you take the 5-yard penalty delay of game, that could crush your momentum. And that's what happened here. We actually had to punt this ball, and there wasn't a lot of punting from Green Bay last night. You just felt with only a 2-point possessional game. Damn, we could have used, if not a first down, at least give yourself a chance. Don't take the 5-yard hit, because all of the momentum went backwards with that 5-yard penalty. So in picking, would you rather use the timeout or the 5-yard penalty? I have a third option. Don't let the clock go to 1. Don't put yourself in that predicament. Don't put yourself in a pickle. Don't back yourself into a corner. It's simple. When a clock hits the 5, panic. Hike that ball. And if you say it sounds simpler than it actually is, no. They have what is called practices throughout the week. One of the very first fundamentally sound drills you should be going through is clock management drills. You'll learn that in Pee Wee. Anyway, that's always been an Achilles heel for the Packers, man. Whether it's Rodgers or now Jordan Love. But at least Love doesn't take the timeouts. But man, those 5-yard penalties, they're damaging. And most Packers fans, if we're being honest, we felt in that moment, that delay of game, when that ball was going back 5 yards, we felt like the momentum was going with it. Right? You remember how you felt on that delay of game, and you're like, oh, Mahomes is getting the ball, and this is where it all turns around, unfortunately. But thankfully, our defense stopped the Chiefs in their tracks. The Chiefs did nothing with the gift that we gave them, and this was kind of the theme of the night. If the offense had a hiccup, the defense had their back. If the defense hit a speed bump, the offense had their back. And thankfully, there wasn't a lot of hiccups or speed bumps for the offense or defense. Like I said, every point that the Chiefs scored, it was methodical, which means the defense really made them earn those points. Subsequently, on the flip side, same thing for the Chiefs. They definitely made us, we had to earn every point that we got as well. But this is one of those cases where it could have changed the tide of the game, changed all of the momentum and put it into the Chiefs' hands, that delay of game. But thankfully, the defense said no, and the Packers were able to get this ball back. So it was no harm, no foul. And later in the quarter, there was a monster interception. The Packers didn't do anything, so it went right back to the Chiefs. But this time, the defense didn't just stand up. They took control of the game. Mahomes drops back, he throws it, heaves it into the air, and he throws it to the wrong team. He throws it to a green jersey, number 25, the Beast, Nixon. And Nixon looked like a receiver 10 years into his career when he caught this ball. Nixon had his back to Mahomes and the ball, looks into the air backwards, stretches his arms out, opens up his hands, and a ball fell into it. A massive, monstrous interception at a crucial clutch time in the game. The Packers get the ball, man. What an interception. You talk about changing the tide and momentum of a game. If the Chiefs had any chance, their fans, that team, that was probably one of, if not the deflating moment in that game. Aside from, of course, the very last possession, which we're about to get to. But that interception was huge because it led to a Packer field goal, 24-19 now. No longer just a 2-point lead. This is huge because now the Chiefs need more than just a field goal to win this game. Touchdown will still do it, of course, but at least they're going to have to earn that the hard way. 24-19 now with that field goal. Again, and it stemmed off of, it came from that massive interception by Nixon. Big stop by our defense, and our offense was able to tack on another 3 points, guys, in the next 2 possessions that spanned across 5 minutes. So at this point, there's only a couple minutes left in the game. The Packers tacked on another field goal. It is now 27-19. It is an 8-point game, so it's still 1 possession, but now they're going to have to score the touchdown and get the 2-point conversion, and even then, we'd at least have a chance in overtime. So the Packers are looking pretty dang good. The bad news is, the flip side, the ball is now in Mahomes' hands with over a minute left. And that's an eternity with somebody as good as Mahomes. And you're facing the Super Bowl champions. So let's talk about the final possession for the Chiefs. It was wild. It starts with just over a minute left. Owens, by the way, and this is Mr. Simone Biles, Jonathan Owens, number 34. He puts a monster hit on Mahomes, inbounds, totally legal. Legal. You can watch it 1,000 times. Mahomes was not yet out of bounds. He was going out, yes, but that's not the rule. He was still going forward, meaning he was trying to get that first down. He was still trying to get any extra inch of yardage in bounds. The only thing your defensive backs can do, any defensive player, is to hit you so hard you either fall or you go out of bounds. That's the job of number 34, Jonathan Owens. It's the job of any player that plays defense in football, whether it's the NFL or Pee Wee. That's what a defensive player should be doing. If you are inbounds and you're going forward to try to get even an inch of yardage, you need to be hit. That's what Owens was doing. He was not out of bounds yet. That is a legal play. And the referee threw a flag, and we got a 15-yard personal foul penalty. Personal foul. You get a couple of those, you could be ejected from the game. So it's not just even the 15-yard penalty. It's our starter, number 34, Owens, finally getting a start, by the way, and playing pretty damn good. And putting on a legal, very, very well done hit onto Mahomes to get him out of bounds, to make sure he doesn't get an extra inch at a crucial time for the Packers, and they hit us with a 15-yard penalty. That is bad officiating, bad refereeing. So now what happens, and they knew that. The referees knew that afterwards. And what happens usually is they'll give you one back, right? They know that they screwed up, so they're going to be very lenient if we commit a penalty going forward. Well, that's exactly what happened. The Chiefs got a taste of that bad officiating. You had a play where Mahomes heaves it down the field because there's not a lot of time left, and he knows there's a good chance you're either going to complete this pass or you're going to get pass interference. Sure enough, the Packers committed pass interference. We basically jumped on the dude's back before the ball was able to be completed. Or attempted anyway, to be completed. Our back just kind of jumped on that white jersey. Obviously, this was pass interference, but the referees, none of them, threw a yellow flag. We got away with it. And again, if you're wondering why, the referees knew that 15-yard was bogus, that penalty on Owens earlier. So you see this all the time in the NFL. So a lot of the talk today is, wow, how could they have missed that call? That was just bad officiating. Well, you are right. It is bad officiating, but they didn't just miss it. They saw it. All of them saw it. The whole world saw the pass interference. But they knew they had to offset the horrible call earlier to make this an even game. That's what happened. That's why that play was not called pass interference on the Packers. We will gladly take that back. Thank you very much. And with that, we are given the final play in the game, a Hail Mary that actually reaches the end zone. Kelsey goes up for it about maybe 1.5 feet because Kelsey is not that athletic. The replay was funny. Kelsey's trying to run down to the end zone. He just looks so out of breath. He's the last player to get to the end zone. He tries the jump, but he goes about 2 feet in the air, and a Packer semi pushes him a little. They're also making a big deal out of that. That should have been pass interference in the end zone. No. First of all, if you ever watched a Hail Mary play, very rarely, and I mean like never, will a referee throw a flag with a Hail Mary play, because they know that everybody is just jumping in the air and beating each other up. It is everybody into a double steel cage war game situation. Jump in the air, collide. It's got to be something very blatant and really affect the play for a referee to throw a flag in the end zone for a Hail Mary. So Kelsey was tapped a little bit. He was nowhere near the ball, and he was never going to jump up even 3 feet to catch it. So relax on that. Everybody was banging up each other. And when it was all said and done, the ball hits the end zone, not in anybody's hands. With a white jersey, the Green Bay Packers defeat the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs in Lambeau Field, Week 13 of NFL competition. The Packers go to 6-6, and we have cemented, for now anyway, a spot in the NFL playoffs for 2023. We are currently in the number 7 seed. We're no longer just in the hunt. We are the number 7 seed, and we don't want to stay there. We want to climb. Let's go to 6, maybe even 5. You know, Nixon was funny in the post-game interview. He's like, we want the number 1 seed in the NFC. Collinsworth, everybody was laughing at that. BC had to laugh at that too, because there's no way we're getting that. I don't even think mathematically we can. I could be wrong, but mathematically that would be very hard to do with 6 losses. We played so bad in the beginning of the year. But with, I think this is like 4 straight W's for us. Coming off the W over the Lions on Thanksgiving and having that momentum in defeating the Super Bowl champions. As a Packer fan, I cannot tell you the feelings and emotions that most of us must have had watching that game. Because I know I was on my feet the entire thing. If I was sitting down, I was edge of my seat, just in whoa mode. Like every play I'm hanging on. It was that wild, guys. It was that big of a game. It was a fun game. If you're just a football fan and you had no dog in the fight, if you weren't a Chiefs fan or a Packers fan, you probably just really enjoyed this game. Really were captivated by it is a better word. But if you're a fan of one of these two teams, it was just a nail biter, and you were I don't know if we really could be captivated by it or enjoying it too much, because it was just panic mode the whole time, and just you were in the game. I mean, every Packer fan, reviewer, journalist, insider, if you're associated with the green and yellow, you were basically playing quarterback or putting yourselves in the position of each one of those players every drive, every play. You were basically in that game mentally, so it was wild, guys. Again, the quarter-by-quarter breakdown, Packers 7 over the Chiefs 3, quarter 1, 7 over 3, quarter 2, 7 over 6, quarter 3, 7 over 6 Chiefs in quarter 4. So in other words, the Packers won every quarter but the very last fourth quarter. 7-3, 7-3, 7-6. And then in quarter 4, the Chiefs had a 7-6 advantage. So if you add all that up quarter by quarter, that takes you to 27-19. The green team had more points than the red team when it was all said and done. And that's how you keep score, and that's how you decide a winner. 27-19, the Packers become 6-6. They are now catapulted into the playoffs. The Chiefs are in a little bit of disarray. Even Mahomes in his post-game interview saying, we're not where we need to be. He sees some good things, though, but they're not where they need to be. That's an understatement. I think that's their 4th loss this season. So it's not the same Super Bowl-looking team as last year. Man, this Packer team is not the same team even from a month ago. Tonight is just one of those games that will live on in immortality for the Green Bay Packers. You had to see it to believe it, and if you were able to see it, you'll never forget it. Go, Pack, go! Into the playoffs. Wow, what a turn of events. The big question now is, who won the match, Liv Morgan or Taylor Swift? Who made it out of the cage? Who made it out of War Games in one piece? Until next time, and there will be that next time. The Packers will storm into Week 14. I think we're Monday Night Football next, correct? BC will be right back next week with the Week 14 review. Current status, we are out. Top guys saying check you. Peace.